Recorded Books presents Battle Cry of Freedom, The Civil War Era by James M. McPherson. Narrated by Jonathan Davis.
Prologue. From the Halls of Montezuma. On the morning of September 14, 1847, brilliant sunshine burned off the haze in Mexico City. A mild breeze sprang up to blow away the smell of gunpowder lingering from the bloody Battle of Chapultepec. Unshaven, mud-stained soldiers of the United States Army, in threadbare uniforms, marched into the Plaza de Armas, formed a ragged line, and stood at weary attention as the shot-torn American flag rose over the ancient capital of the Aztecs. Civilians looked on in disappointed wonder. Were these tattered gringos the men who had vanquished the splendid hosts of Santa Anna? Martial music suddenly blared from a street entering the plaza. Jaunty dragoons with drawn sabers cantered into the square, escorting a magnificent bay charger ridden by a tall general resplendent in full dress uniform with gold epaulettes and white-plumed chapeau. The Mexicans broke into involuntary applause. If they must endure the humiliation of conquest, they preferred their conquerors to look the part. As the band played Yankee Doodle and Hail to the Chief, General Winfield Scott dismounted and accepted formal surrender of the city. Cross-belted U.S. Marines soon patrolled the halls of Montezuma, while at nearby Guadalupe Hidalgo, the American envoy Nicholas Trist negotiated a treaty that enlarged the territory of the United States by nearly 1/4 and reduced that of Mexico by half. During the 16 previous months, American forces under Generals Scott and Zachary Taylor had won 10 major battles, most of them against larger Mexican armies defending fortified positions. The Duke of Wellington had pronounced Scott's campaign against Mexico City the most brilliant in modern warfare. But ironies and squabbles marred the triumphs. The war had been started by a Democratic president in the interest of territorial expansion and opposed by Whigs whose anti-war position helped them wrest control of the House in the congressional elections of 1846. Yet the two commanding generals in this victorious war were Whigs. Democratic President James K. Polk relieved Whig General Scott of command after Scott had ordered the court-martial of 2 Democratic generals who had inspired newspaper articles claiming credit for American victories. The president recalled his own envoy for appearing to be too soft toward the Mexicans. Trist ignored the recall and negotiated a treaty which obtained all of Mexico that Polk had hoped for originally, but less than he now wanted. Polk, nevertheless, sent the treaty to the Senate, where a combination of Whigs who wanted no Mexican territory and Democrats who wanted more came within 4 votes of defeating it. The anti-war party nominated war hero Zachary Taylor for president in 1848 and won. The same party nominated war hero Winfield Scott for president 4 years later and lost. Congressmen from northern states tried to enact a proviso banning slavery from the territories acquired by a war in which 2/3 of the volunteer soldiers had come from slave states. General Taylor was a slaveholder, but opposed the expansion of slavery when he became president. The discord generated by the Mexican War erupted 15 years later in a far larger conflict, whose foremost hero was elected president 2 decades after he, as Lieutenant Sam Grant, had helped win the decisive Battle of Chapultepec in a war that he considered one of the most unjust ever waged by a stronger against a weaker nation. The bickering Americans won the Mexican War because their adversaries were even more riven by faction. They won also because of the march
Sample complete. Ready to continue?